Thanks so much for that update. Well, even while officials try to secure the Hard Rock Hotel and to recover victims, the process has begun to find out what caused the structure to collapse. Eyewitness investigative David Hammer joining us now. He's been talking to experts and workers who were there. And I mean, what do they have to say here?
Well, there's some very interesting developments today, Charisse. They're raising major questions. There are already multiple lawsuits being filed against the developers, builders, architects, and engineers, and now we're hearing from people who were there and can verify that they worked on that Hard Rock Hotel project, and they're raising major concerns about the engineering. We and our partners at the Times-Picayune New Orleans Advocate have spoken to more than a half dozen workers who verified they were on the project and expressed concerns with how the building was designed. One worker took a video Thursday, 2 days before the collapse, and gave it to concrete contractor Randy Gaspard, who posted it on Facebook. The worker is speaking Spanish. He says sarcastically, "Look, Papo, the best engineering. Look at these large stretches between supports and expletive beams. They're already to the point of breaking." He points the camera at a bent support jack and says, "Look at this, Papo. Look at how it's bent already. They couldn't remove it because it's too bent and it has too much pressure. The huge spaces without beams, look. What a very expletive structure these architects and engineers are building." Then he calls them little gringos and adds, "This is seriously bad, Papa." We spoke to crane operators, carpenters, and iron workers who all pointed out similar concerns. One iron worker foreman said he questioned the metal decking months ago, asking if it was laid properly, facing in different directions, and with supports only every 30 feet, and was told, quote, "We were just stupid iron workers." But retired structural engineer Ashton Avegno said construction workers often don't understand the engineering involved.
Again, I commend them for the job they do in construction, but this goes beyond construction expertise.
For instance, he said 30-foot spans between beams is not abnormal for the type of decking they used.
VersaFloor and other systems like it can span up to 30 feet and sometimes more if it's properly designed and if it properly has been supported.
Avegno said only a qualified structural engineer can tell if the proper design was followed.
And then in order to make an opinion on this particular project, he would need all of the construction documents up to date to review and determine what was supposed to be installed.
Now, Brian Trasher, a spokesman for prime contractor Citadel Builders, said they've trained engineers on site reviewing the drawings and looking for those causes. Heaslip Engineering of Metairie led the design team, and founder James Heaslip sent us this statement. "As a member of the design team, we are keenly interested in finding out why this incident occurred. Heaslip Engineering continues to be available to assist on site in any way possible in the days and weeks to come." Charisse?
All right, David, thanks so much for that.